Good morning, students. Shall we start the class? In last classes, we have seen the definition of correlation coefficient, types of correlation, measures of correlation coefficient with the scatter diagram and Karl Pearson's coefficient of correlation, and then properties of correlation coefficient. And applications of correlation coefficient, you know how to find out correlation between the two variables under consideration. Now in today's class, let us concentrate on correlation coefficient for bivariate grouped data. What is bivariate grouped data? Suppose you have data like this, then you say that it is bivariate grouped data. Before going to bivariate grouped data, let me explain what is probable error. Probable error determines the reliability of correlation coefficient. Then why do you want this probable error? You want to check whether the correlation coefficient which you have found out from the sample, whether it is true for the population or not. You remember one thing, you are finding out the correlation coefficient for the sample observations. In general, you will not be having population values. You are finding out correlation coefficient for the sample observations. Since you calculate that for the sample observation, sometimes it may not be true for the population, right? Because you are drawing a random sample of size n from the population, and for that random sample you are calculating correlation coefficient. So now you have to check, because we give conclusion about the population from the sample which we have drawn. We are talking about the population through the sample. So it may not be true, because suppose my sample is a representative portion of the population, then it will be true. Otherwise, it may not be true. How do I come to know about it? Whether the conclusion which I have given about the population from the sample is true or not. For that, we need to calculate probable error. Probable error determines the reliability of correlation coefficient. It says whether there is significant relationship between the two variables or not. By finding the value of probable error, you can conclude about the population's relationship, whether in the population also X and Y are correlated or not. That is why you use probable error. Probable error is given by 0.6745 into 1 minus r square by square root of n. Suppose you have only raw data without frequencies, then it will be square root of small n, where small n is number of pairs of values. But here capital N is total frequency. Limits of correlation coefficient is defined as, you know that correlation coefficient limit is -1 to +1. Now population correlation coefficient limit is r minus probable error less than or equal to rho less than or equal to r plus probable error. Of course, it will be in between -1 and +1 only, no doubt about it. How do you interpret it? When you calculate from the sample, when you calculate correlation coefficient from the sample, then you give conclusion about the population. Then your population correlation coefficient will be in between r minus probable error and r plus probable error, where r is sample correlation coefficient. Your population correlation coefficient is denoted by rho, that lies in between r minus probable error and r plus probable error. Now, when you can accept that yes, there is a significant difference and there is no significant association between the two variables under consideration. Suppose mod r is less than 6 times probable error, absolute value of r is less than 6 times probable error, then the correlation is not significant. What do you mean by not significant? There is no correlation between the two variables. It means that x and y are uncorrelated. It means that x and y are uncorrelated. Suppose if you have absolute value of R is greater than 6 times the probable error, then correlation is significant. It means that X and Y are correlated. Now again, strong correlation, less correlation, all those things are there. You forget about that. Now you can say whether it is significant or not significant. In the sense whether there is a relationship between the two variables or there is no relationship between the two variables. Using probable error, you can give conclusion about the population correlation coefficient. That means you are giving conclusion about the population correlation from the sample which you have drawn from the same population. That is why we use a probable error to conclude about the population. Remember that. To conclude about the population, we use probable error. Then consider correlation, Karl Pearson's correlation coefficient for grouped data. Grouped data means I have already shown that bivariate table. In general, you know that correlation coefficient Rxy equal to covariance of x comma y divided by square root of variance of x into variance of y. That is equal to, you know the formula, right? In place of x and y, if you replace u and v, then it gives ru comma v. Because you know that Rxy equal to ru comma v. Already we have derived correlation coefficient is independent of scale and origin. In Rxy, you are replacing x and y by u and v. Now look at the formula of Rxy. There it is given capital N double summation Fij Yj. Fij Xi Yj. I'll explain all those things. Fij means cell frequency corresponding to ith row and jth column. Cell frequency corresponding to ith row and jth column. So suppose it is F11, meaning of that is cell frequency in the first row, first column, and so on. What is capital N? Capital N is total frequency. When you add all the frequencies in the bivariate table, you will get capital N. Then double summation, one is over I, another one is over J. One is over rho, another one is over J. Because you are adding summation x, Fij, Xi, Yj, again, you are adding that summation Fij, Xi, Yj. That is why it is a double summation. Remaining, I think you can understand easily. Summation Fi, Xi. Earlier you had summation Xi. Now you have frequencies. So it is summation Fi, Xi into summation Fj, Yj. And denominator quantity you can see in the PPT, because already we have seen for bivariate raw data similar, but the thing is F is there. That's all. That you will understand while going through those problems. Okay. Let me explain one problem clearly. Now you have a table like this, x and y. And remember one thing, since correlation coefficient is unaltered by change of the variables, you can take any value as x and any value as y. No problem at all. Your Rxy is equivalent to Ryx. That concept also you know about it. So no problem at all. Now you are finding the correlation coefficient between Karl Pearson's correlation coefficient between age of husband and age of wife. You have a bivariate table like this. In this table, remember, now you look at that cell frequency 5. Meaning of that, there are 5 people, 5 couples with the husband's age in between 15 to 25 and wife's age in between 10 to 20. Okay, husband's age in between 15 to 25, wife's age in between 10 to 20. You remember, for a girl to marry according to Indian law, it is 18, and for a boy to marry, it is 21. We are including only those values, so don't be under the impression that it is child marriage, all those things. Maybe 10 to 18 no values, 15 to 21 no values, only after that 5 are there. Okay, now 15. You go through that cell frequency 15, meaning of that there are 15 couples with husband's age between 25 to 35 and wife's age in between 20 to 30 and so on. This is the explanation for this table. Then how to find correlation coefficient? Now all of you look at this table properly. I have class frequencies and I have class intervals for x and y. Now I'll find the midpoints of those class intervals and they are called as x and y. Okay? Yes. Now look at that age of y, 10 to 20. What is your midpoint? Your y value is now 10 plus 20 divided by 2. 10 plus 20 is 30 divided by 2 is 15. Next one, 20 plus 30 divided by 2. So it is 25. 30 plus 40 divided by 2, 35. 40 plus 50 divided by 2, 45. 50 plus 60 divided by 2, 55. And so on. This is the way of finding out class midpoints. Okay. Now come to x variable. 15 plus 25 divided by 2, 20. 25 plus 35 divided by 2, 30. And so on. You are finding just the midpoints of the class intervals. Remember this. You are finding just the midpoints of the class intervals. Okay. Now, what is written in the cell frequencies in white ink? You go through that white ink only now. First cell frequency is 5. Second one is 3. First row I am talking about. 5 plus 3. Now you have one blue ink, that is F. So 5 plus 3 is 8. Your F along row is 5 plus 3 is 8. Then 15. Then 3 plus 11 plus 11 plus 7, 32. 14 plus 12 plus 3, 29. 7 plus 3 plus 6, 16. My dear students, you don't by heart the problem. You have to understand the concept. You try to remember the concept. Now in the column F is frequency total of the row. Okay, total frequencies in a particular row. That column gives F value. Remember that. Similarly, you look at that F in the row. 5 plus 3, 8. 3 plus 15 plus 11, 29. 11 plus 14 plus 7, 32. 7 plus 12 plus 3, 22. 3 plus 6, 9. Now, you add all the frequencies in the row, you get 100. Similarly, add all the frequencies in the column, you have to get 100. Row total frequency should be equal to column total frequency. That is 100. Now find out U. What is U? U equal to X minus, you look at that value of X. Value of X's are 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. In that you take one constant. My dear students, you remember one thing, I have taken it as 40. You can take any constant. There is no restriction about this constant. X minus assumed mean. It is only an assumption about the mean. It is not the exact value of the mean. I have assumed that it is 40. You can assume even 20. Suppose if anybody wants to avoid that negative sign, you can take x minus 20 so that you will get 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That also can be done. You are selecting that constant in such a way that your calculation becomes simple. That's all. Shortcut method means you are selecting that constants A and C in such a way that calculation becomes simple. That's all. Okay. So U equal to x minus 40 divided by 10. Common difference is 10. 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Difference is 10. Suppose there is no common difference, you can take any value which makes your calculations simple. Suppose if you find without that divided by 10 or some value, you can work out easily. Then you can take only x minus a. You need not take divided by c. Okay, remember all these things. Now I have taken 40. Now first value of u is 20 minus 40 divided by 10. 20 minus 40 divided by 10. So that is minus 2. Second value of u is x is 30 minus 40 divided by 10. 30 minus 40 divided by 10. So it is minus 1. Third value, 40 minus 40 divided by 10, 0. Fourth value, 50 minus 40 divided by 10, 1. 60 minus 40 divided by 10, 2. Okay. Now you find out F into U. F is blue color, U is white color. So 8 into minus 2, minus 16. 15 into minus 1, minus 15. 32 into 0, 30, 0. 29 into 1, 29. 16 into 2, 32. You understood now? FU, F into U. Now next column, FU square. FU square is FU into U. That gives FU square. FU into U. You write it in your notebook. FU into U. So FU is minus 16. U is minus 2. So minus 16 into minus 2. So it is 32. Next value minus 15 into 1. 15. Next 0. Next 29 into 1. 29. 32 into 2. 64. Similarly, find out FU, summation FU square. Wait, don't go to summation FUV. I'll explain. Next, come to row. In the row also, you can find out with the blue ink, F values are there. How do you calculate that F value? You add the frequencies in the column, first column. Your first column is 10 to 20. Your Y values 10 to 20. Okay. That first column you add 5 plus 3. 5 plus 3. So what do you get? 5 plus 3? 5 plus 3 is 8. Next 3 plus 15 plus 11, 29. Next 11 plus 14 plus 7, 32. 7 plus 12 plus 3, 22. 3 plus 6, 9. You got the frequencies 100. Now find out V. What is V? Y minus, I have taken it as Y minus, it should be 35. Remember, because your Y values are 15, 25, 35, 45, 55. So you take it as Y minus 35 divided by 10. Y minus 35 divided by 10. So that you will get minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2. Same procedure, okay. 10 to 20, that 15, Y value is 15. So 15 minus 35 divided by 2. That gives minus 2. Then 15 minus 25 divided by 10, minus 1. 15 minus 35, then Y value is 35. 35 minus 35 divided by 10, 0, so on. Now you find out F into V. What is F into V? F is 8. Your V is minus 2. 8 into minus 2, minus 16. 29 into minus 1, minus 29. 32 into 0, 0. 22 into 1, 22. 9 into 2, 18. You add that value. You will get summation FV. That is your minus 5. How do you find FV square? FV into V. FV into V. Minus 16 into minus 2, 32. Minus 29 into minus 1, 29. 0. 22 into 1, 22. 18 into 2, 36. You add that, you will get 119. Now go to last column. Go to that last column, this. Summation FUV. Summation means you have to add FUV. How do you find this FUV? FUV. Now these are cell frequencies 5, 3, 15, 3, 11, 11, 7. Those are all cell frequencies. Those represents now F. Actually, what do you mean by F? Summation FUV? There actually you have summation Fij Ui Vj. Fij Ui Vj. Fij means these values. 5, 3, 15, 3, 11, 11, 7 and so on. Ui is minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2. Vj is minus 2, minus 1, 1, 2, so on. I just avoided that U, I and J so that you will not get confused. Okay. Now, FUV means, first one you look at that, this 5 into -2 into -2. F corresponding row, column, values of U and V. So 5 into -2 into -2. So it is 20. Then 3 into -2 into -1. Then 6. Next 15. 15 into -1 into 15 -1. F U V. Remember that corresponding U and V. Corresponding row U, column V. You are multiplying that with the cell frequencies. I have shown it in yellow ink. All of you go through that. I have shown it in yellow ink. Those values are FUV. When you add those values, you will get summation FUV. Now go to column summation FUV. How do you get this? 20 plus 6. I am adding yellow values. 20 plus 6, 26. Next one, 15. Next one, because 0. U is 0. All the values in that particular row will be 0. Because you are multiplying with the U, no? FUV. Next, 12 plus 6, 18. Next, 6 plus 24, 30. You got 89. Total frequency of summation FU is 89. That becomes double summation FUV. Double summation FUV, because you are adding summation FUV. Similarly, come to column. Add that. 20 plus 0, 20. 6 plus 15 plus 0, 21. 0, 0. Next, 12 plus 6, 18. 3 plus 6, 6 plus 24, 6 plus 24, 30. When you add that, you will get 89. You can see one word check there, right? Check means these two totals should be same. What is that? Double summation FUV. Now, to avoid confusion, I have written all the values in terms of notations. You just go through that. Double summation Fij Ui Vj. While working out problems, you can avoid this, no problem at all. Instead of Ij, you can avoid. But you have to understand the difference between Fi and Fij. Fj and Fij. Fj, Fi, Fij. All the three are different. Fij represents the frequency in the ith row and jth column, whereas Fi represents the frequency total in the ith row, and the frequency Fj represents the frequency total in the jth column. I hope you understood the differences clearly. Then capital N is total frequency, that is 100. All other values are there in the table that I have copied here. You just go through that. Then you have the formula RUV equal to capital N double summation Fij Ui Vj minus summation Fiui into summation Fj Vj divided by square root of, there is a bracket there, one bracket into another bracket, okay? N into summation Fiui square minus summation Fiui whole square into capital N into summation Fj Vj square minus summation Fj Vj whole square. Substitute all the values and simplify that, you will get 0.7256. If at all in your calculator in the denominator quantity, because two big numbers are there, you have to multiply that and then take the square root. Suppose if you find it difficult, suppose some problem in your calculator, you do one thing, you multiply that, take the square root and multiply separately. First you take the first part, take the square root, then you take the second part, take the square root, then multiply. But I think by now all of you have purchased a scientific calculator. So no, I don't think there will be problems in that. So you can work out all this. You find the correlation coefficient between U and V. because we know that the correlation coefficient between U and V is equal to the correlation coefficient between X and Y. That is theoretically we have proved Rxy equal to RUV. Now you got 0.7256. Right. Therefore, X and Y are positively correlated. In general, if it is more than 0.7, we will write X and Y are strongly correlated. Strongly, positively correlated. I hope you understood the method. You are finding the midpoints of the class interval. Then you are finding Ui and Vj. The total frequency in each row. You look at the blue values. This represents frequency in the row 5 plus 3, 15. Next 3 plus 11 plus 11 plus 7, 32. So on. You add that, you will get 100. Similarly, you go to column. Add 5 plus 3, 3 plus 15 plus 11, then 11 plus 14 plus 7, then 7 plus 12 plus 3, 3 plus 6, 9. When you add that, you will get 100. You have to get the row total of the frequency is equal to column total of the frequency. When you add along row and column, the total frequency should be same. That is your 100 now. Then you find out U. U is X minus A divided by C, where A is any constant from X. Any constant. The method says any constant. Whichever constant you feel that it makes your calculations simple, you take that constant. And C is common difference between the values of X. Suppose there is no common difference between the values of X, then you need not consider C. You can take directly X minus 40. Then find out F into U. F is blue color values. So F into U. Then Fu square, that is Fu into U, that gives Fu square. Similarly, do the same calculations for V. You are adding row column wise, and then you are repeating the procedure for V, the variable V, that is the variable Y. Then, because this represents variable Y, for that you are doing. Okay. Same procedure you repeat. You understood now how to find row total of the frequencies 8, 29, 32, 22, 9. When you add that, you will get 100. Then find out V. V is Y minus, because your values of Y are 15, 25, 35, 45, 55. So I have taken the middle point, Y minus 35 divided by 10. So what is your first value? 15. So 15 minus 35 divided by 10. So minus 2. Then 25 minus 35 divided by 10, minus 1. 35 minus 35 divided by 10, 0, 1, 2, and so on. Then you find out F into V. Previous row is F, present row is V. So F into V, 8 into minus 2, 29 into minus 1, and so on. Fv square is Fv into V. So minus 16 into minus 2, 32, minus 29 into minus 1, 29, and so on. Right? Then you find out summation FUV. Now you add the quantities which are there in bracket in yellow color. So that gives a summation FUV. 20 plus 0. Next 6 plus 15 plus 0. 0 and so on. Remember that total also should be equal to 89. That is why you can find out, check, no? Yes, that total also should be equal to 89. Then substitute formula that I have explained. You substitute and find out the value of Rxy, that is equal to RUV. We know the property, one of the properties of correlation coefficient, that Rxy is equal to RUV. Then interpret the correlation coefficient. Now you have studied about the probable error. Now you can check whether the probable error is greater than that value 6 times that you have, no? You just check it whether it is equal to that or not, whether correlation is significant or not. Similarly, you work out these problems. Here you don't worry that 130 to 140, 120 to 130, it is given like that. Yes, you will get, it is in the opposite direction. You don't worry about that. You calculate as usual. But if you are taking midpoint, you just, while finding out those values of ui and vj, you go through that carefully, because a negative sign will be there. You have to go through that. Those who find it difficult for the negative sign, you can take the first value 6 to 8. What is the midpoint? 7. That itself as your a value. No problem at all. Okay. You work out these problems. Next, it is similar to the previous problem. Next, calculate the correlation coefficient between income and expenditure. The values are given in terms of 100 rupees, in the sense 200 into 100, 200 to 300 it is given, no? 200 into 100, that means 20,000 to 30,000, 30,000 to 40,000. Of course, that is nothing to do with that, because you know that correlation coefficient is a constant. Since it is same for all, you are multiplying by 100 for all, it is not going to make any difference with you. You calculate it directly for this table correlation coefficient. Okay. Yes, I hope all of you understood all the problems. If you have any doubt, you can come back to me. You go through the method again. It's a very, very simple method. You just go through the method. You work out in your notebook. You take one particular problem, you work out, you go through the PPT and work out each column and each row. You will understand. It's a simple problem. So this is correlation for bivariate grouped data. Okay. Thank you, students. Have a nice day.